All proper there, excellent peeps, we are FlowConnect and welcome to this YouTube channel. Nowadays, we're going to be checking out the Xiaomi 12 Lite, a mid-range more low-priced choices to that Xiaomi 12 flagship smartphone. The Xiaomi 12 Lite is, in fact, an upgraded model of closing year's Xiaomi 11 Lite 5G NE with fortuitously a less clunky title as well, and now comes back in a 108 meg primary digital camera, a faster charging battery and a spoojerific 120Hz AMOLED display. However, the query is, does not suck? Well, let's whip the Xiaomi 12 mild on out of its field, absolutely test out that digicam tech, the gaming chops, all that exact stuff and more significant on the latest and best tech. Please do plug subscribe and dig that notifications bell, cheers. So first up, what is in this lovely container? Correctly, you acquired yourself one Xiaomi 12 Lite is a big old beefy 67-watt adapter USB-C cable naturally, and oh yes. Of course, you've received a condom case. Bundled in there to maintain your Xiaomi 12 Lite searching field sparkling, and there you have it, that's everything you get checked in the box. So let's check out the smartphone. So right here we have it, the Xiaomi 12 Lite, and I've acquired to say it does look quite similar to a lot of different budgets to mid-range smartphones that I have fondled in 2022. It would possibly be over 6.5 inches, however only weighs 173 grams, which is enormously light for a smartphone. This sort of measurement, all the identical, it is acquired a decent sufficient F to it, does not sense like some type of kiddie toy, virtually feels reasonably compact, helped alongside via the fact that the bezels surrounding that 6.55 inch show are highly skinny. That said, it is quite a chunky monkey, as well as you can see, they're carrying flat edges, similar to the iPhone, sort of the style which a lot of finances to mid-range Android seems to be copying these 12 months, for some purpose. Not really sure why. Personally I select rounder edges, which actually sense more comfortable to clutch. However, hi-ho, Xiaomi honestly used this layout for some of its red smartphones recently, for instance that likes the Red Note 11 Season Plus, going for walks around the edges of the Xiaomi 12 Lite. You've got bought a basic the plastic frame, however, then round again. It is a glass I do not accept as accurate with its Gorilla Glass, though Xiaomi used to be a bit indistinct on what the genuine substances have been. However, you do then again have a Gorilla Glass 5 display up the front, and this is obtained a pre-installed display protector on it as well, to hold it protected from home. This right here is as a substitute sparkling and attractive inexperienced mannequin. I do like these sort of brighter extra summery colors. You can also seize the Xiaomi 12 Lite in light crimson, or if you are a bit of a moody bastard, you can clutch it in black. It's already getting a wee bit greasy in fingerprint, however, fortuitously, that green corner looks to be mainly masking the worst of it. Just have to provide it the occasional buff and maintain it is looking fresh. As you can see, there is the brand and isn't too obnoxious, and the camera grille solely juts ever so slightly from the lower back, ceases as nicely, so nothing too troublesome there. Now if you boot up the Xiaomi 12 mild, and I instead recommend you do, you'll discover that you've acquired the latest, freshest Android 12 is on here, plus a bit of MIUI 13 squatting on Pinnacle. Now if you have had a play with a Xiaomi or a poker smartphone in current times, you'll basically be aware of what to anticipate here. Mini 13 happily has extra stock Android vibe than previous versions. You've genuinely obtained an apps tray by default. Google Discover fading drag down that notifications bar from anywhere, but you've also got the likes of the Control the Center, which offers you immediate access to all of your quick toggle shenanigans, likes the brightness, and so on and so on. And my UI adds in bugger loads of bonus bits, so you've obtained lots of always on display shenanigans. Pretty a few different designs you can pick from, including some pretty trippy out there ones. And most of them are wholly customizable as well. Plenty of other customization options like the wallpaper carousel, for an instance, in which you simply exchange up your wallpaper automatically. Themes as well, loads of Xiaomi issues to pick out from here. Now not entirely sure they've received permission to use the Superstar Wars brand in that one. Hopefully, Disney's no longer watching. It's certainly packed to the brim with anything you ought to desire, which includes lots of excellent anime style stuff, and yeah, Plenty of different bonus bits as properly I won't go through it all because would take ruddy invariably. What I will say though is that MIUI smartphones have a tendency to come piled with crap, whereas nicely which is an actual disgrace, so a lot of the setup timer with Xiaomi smartphones is just getting rid of the bollocks, basically just undergo in the idea that Xiaomi isn't exactly the excellent round when it comes to OS and security updates, so the Xiaomi 12 the Lite should get Android 13 at some point. When will it come? Probably some point in 2023, God even knows, might not get upgraded past that, unfortunately, and the safety updates tend to trickle through a bit more excellent slowly. That's probably because Xiaomi has so many bloody smartphones that it is a variety of difficult to hold them all up to date on a timely basis. On the safety aspect, you've got an in-display fingerprint sensor here on the Xiaomi 12, like simply you're the standard optical scanner of direction as you would anticipate from a mid-range mobile, so it lights up your print, simply takes a 2D picture of it. So not as excellent as an ultrasonic sensor, but it appears to be pretty responsive, noticeably nippy. My only the complaint, so a long way, is that sensor is positioned relatively low down on the display. It would be a whole lot cozier if it's round here as an alternative to having to grow up proper down close to the backside, but you know, minor quibble. The most critical issue is that it looks to work just first class, and certainly no complaints for that 6.55-inch AMOLED show. We're certainly spoiled these days due to the fact exceptionally much every mid-range smartphone comes packing an excellent OLED panel, and of the root the Xiaomi 12 line is no exception. It is a full HD plus resolutions of visuals, pretty crisp despite the truth you've obviously acquired quite a spacious display on the go here. And because it's old, the tech you've got received excellent contrast on here is a fantastic deep black full assist for Dolby Vision as properly as HDR10 plus video as nicely, so perfect information. If you are a streamer, you'll certainly desire to be streaming a lot of Disney Plus and Netflix and stuff to surely get the most out of this smartphone. Killers are pretty poppy. You can mess around with the proper color saturation in the display settings as well. You acquired wide viewing angles, so splendid news if you want to cram round a couple of mates and all watch something together. No trouble with visibility, both even on a sunshiny day, which we've got absolutely had in the UK this week. Hallelujah, I had no problems making out what was once going on. Dive on into the display settings, and as I mentioned before, you can piddle about with the color scheme, so you can change up the color output like it is the P3, and the RGB gamut goes down. It doesn't make a massive amount of difference, I don't think, without a doubt, not to my peepers, but here is additionally where you exchange up the refresh charge, which, as you can see, there by default is caught at 60 Hz. But you can bump that up to the maximum 120 Hz refresh rate if you want to take total gain of that exceptional smooth. The panel, as for the speakers, nicely is a stereo speaker set up here on the Xiaomi 12 Lite. Let's bump up the extent to see if it's any good on a Watch GS3 overview. And for extra on the latest and best tech, please do pop subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers. So the output pretty first rate on that maximum quantity, not the loudest round by way of any potential, and there is a mild imbalance between the two speakers are actually positioned right here on the edges of the device, each at the pinnacle and at the bottom. Now bottom speaker indeed places out more grunt than that pinnacle one, which is a little bit extra tinny in evaluation on the authentic stainless steel frame, either pretty hard as you would assume, and I was a little bit concerned that because they are placed on the edges here that they'd be convenient to muffle when you are, for instance, clutching the phone like so doing an actual bit of gaming. However, I didn't, in reality, have that hassle at all when I was blasting via, you know, hentai has an effect on the call of responsibility. In many others you do actually get whole Dolby Atmos to guide on here as correctly as you can see. The preset is dynamic, but you can change it up depending on what you're up to. If you want to buy a lot of equalizer presets you can pick between. Otherwise, you can mess around with the true equalizer board down here, pump up that bass. Yeah, sadly then again no headphone jack right here on the Xiaomi 12 mild boo, and indeed who probably gonna be definitely extinct by 2023 at this fee. However, hi, there is the good news. You have got Bluetooth 5.2 help here, and the streaming looks absolutely fine for headphones, audio system, whatever, so you can just score completely wireless, or dongle it up if you favor to so. Let's slide away into overall performance, and the Xiaomi 12 Lite is powered by way of the Qualcomm Snapdragon 778G, the chipset, which is a bit of a surprise choice as that was once also the SoC discovered in the older Xiaomi 11 Lite 5G NE that's backed on this smartphone using the 6 or 8 gigs of RAM. This is the 8GB model, and indeed each and everyday shenanigans truly best. Great and smooth apps simply load up straight away, and 120Hz refresh helps to keep everything searching buttery clean, and you comprehend the benchmarking scores are absolutely exceptional as correctly if you're into all of that. But yeah, even though it's running really first class now, who's to say that it may not be struggling from some severe slowdown in a year, 2 years? Yeah, in reality, a shame that Xiaomi didn't pick to improve the performance, and if you are a gamer, the Xiaomi 12 Lite will cope absolutely best with your PUBGs, your name of obligation mobiles, all of your fashionable Android honest and even extra demanding titles like Genshin. The impact will run clearly quality as long as you maintain the settings of the photographs scaled all the way down. You actually don't want to push this element due to the fact you will end up with a jittery performance, but Genshin's influence on these low detail settings ran actually excellent, certainly more than playable. The screen supports 240Hz touch sampling, so perfectly responsive even for fast-paced action games like this, and it is a completely flat show as well, so adequately applicable to a fun. And you do have that little punch hole selfie orifice component centrally positioned, unfortunately, which is slightly annoying. I select when it's wedged into a nook, however, now not too intrusive. It is not incredibly massive, and even if you are getting your gantry on for a desirable hour or greater, no worries, because the Xiaomi 12 Mild does stay pleasingly cool, helped along through the fact that 778G is actually noticeably energy efficient, and at least with that Snapdragon 778G chipset you do have support for 5G that is indeed across both of the on-hand SIM slots, so as you can see there is a double-sided SIM tray. Regrettably no room in there for a micro SD memory card door to amplify the storage, and you've obtained complete Wi-Fi 6 support as well here on the Xiaomi 12 Lite, and have experienced no issues with the connectivity. Whether I'm indoors, exterior, connected to the Wi-Fi, the mobile community looks to be absolutely fine for getting online streaming video. Playing games is something you choose, and while there's no expandable storage, you do at least get a base stage of 128 gigs of the internal area, so no longer a large amount of that is taken up through system archives. So even with the almighty bloody massive generation impact setup, I've nonetheless got plenty of spare space, luckily, and it's actually desirable information on the battery life. The front as properly even, although the Xiaomi 12 Lite only sports activities of 300 mAh capacity mobile phone, which isn't particularly massive. No matter this, I still pretty happily make it through a full day on a single cost with this bad boy, and that is even with you understand a good bit of gaming on the facet, plenty of media streaming, a lot of digital cameras play as long as you are not enjoying games and impact for literally 2-3 hours, then all is appropriately, and when it's time to charge a backup again at the Xiaomi 12 Lite helps 67W wires demand, but there is no Wi-Fi charging support here. So let's end up this unboxing with a squint at the Xiaomi 12 Lite's camera tech, and we obtained right here slapped on the return quit as a triple N setup spearheaded using 108 megapixel Samsung HM2. A primary sensor at the Xiaomi app is proper dense with aspects as well. You've got all types of exceptional modes you can play around with, specifically if you head to the extra section. Oh my god, so much stuff, and as you can see in full auto the mode, you do have a proper bit of eye tracking on the go, which works even with plastic subjects like suitable old Veronica here, and I had no issues with that in actual lifestyles eventualities either. It works well on pets as nicely as hyperactive children, keeping them sharply in focus even when they're transferring at velocity or feeling particularly squirmy. In fact, the Xiaomi 12 Mild is exceptional at capturing living topics. The portrait board in particular does its job with bells on eye. Got some excellent outcomes with that. And my everyday snaps did seem pretty ideal. Colors are barely boosted but not to a stressful degree, and even in vital lighting fixtures my test photographs looked crisp and bold. Then again, when you move indoors into extra ambient light, things do look exceptionally softer. This is definitely no longer the Xiaomi 12 Lite strong go well with, and in very low mild the smartphone truly struggles as well as you usually get out of the center of attention, murky results, and while the nighttime mode may brighten things up a bit, it doesn't surely help out a lot with the overall picture. The quality of the other two lenses is pretty typical for a kind of mid-range the smartphone. You've got your laboratory standard 8-megapixel ultra-vast angle shooter. This offers you a bit extra room to play with. Otherwise, you do also have a 2-megapixel macro sensor, which you can swap to like, so in my view, I never really bother with these. Do not really see the factor. However, it's there if you want it, and if you desire to shoot video, well, you can seize footage in full HD resolution 30 or 60 frames per second. Otherwise, bump it up to extremely HD 4K. The level at 30 frames per second, and when I was once shooting horror movies, I acquired comparable consequences to the photo mode. Things appear fantastically exact until the light and fails. You basically order your pickup could be a little bit more robust in the front of the lens, especially when matters get barely breezy and all you can hear the wind, but in any other case, it is great for horror movies. And then around front it is a 32-megapixel selfie shooter once more with the old eye tracking, as you can see there. And again, I gotta say this camera impresses even when the lighting fixtures are quite full on. So shoot against a bright sky and your face will nonetheless be perfectly exposed, so you can see every slight line, sag and bag hazard. And yeah, things are again a bit softer in low light but no longer horrible. And there you have it. That in a nutshell is the new Xiaomi 12 Lite is a mid-ranger that's pretty solid all around. Very little to complain about past the truth that the performance hasn't been upgraded over the preceding era, and of course, how long is it really going to be supported with these OS and security updates? And then of the route you've got obtained to factor in an intense competition that likes the OnePlus Nord 2T, the Realme 9 Pro. Plus, there are some bloody guns made ranges about in 2022. There are so many in truth. I recently did a video highlighting my personal non-public favorite sub £400 mid-range smartphones. Difficult. Take a look at that out for more significant on the Xiaomi 12 Lite's closest to rivals, and please do poke subscribe for the duration of that notifications bell for extra on the latest and best tech. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Have yourself some bloody good rest of the week. Cheers, all of us love you.